redlining, etc. Just went through. Let me read some of this. It says Barbara Walters, the intrepid interviewer, anchor, and program host who blazed the way as the first woman to become a TV news superstar during a career remarkable for its duration and variety, has died. She was 93. ABC broke into the broadcast to announce Walters' death on air Friday night. She lived her life with no regrets. She was a trailblazer not only for female journalists but for all women, her publicist Cindy Berger also said in a statement, adding Walters died peacefully at her New York home. An ABC spokesperson did not have an immediate comment Friday night beyond sharing a statement from Bob Iger, the CEO of ABC parent The Walt Disney Company. Barbara was a true legend, a pioneer not just for women in journalism, but for journalism itself, Iger
Sure.
said.
Yeah.
During nearly 4 decades at ABC and before that at NBC, Walters' exclusive interviews with rulers, royalty, and entertainers brought her celebrity status that ranked with theirs, while placing her at the forefront of the trend that made stars of TV reporters. It
I
says
remember
late in
all
her
the way back from the 80s.
Yeah, I remember Barbara Walters. Let
Yeah.
me read some more. It says, late in her career, she gave infotainment a new twist with The View, a live ABC weekday cafe clash with an all-female panel for whom any topic was on the table and who welcomed guests ranging from world leaders to teen idols. With that side venture and unexpected hit, Walters considered The View the dessert of her career. Okay. It says a statement from the show said Walters created The View in 1997 to champion women's voices. We're proud to be part of her legacy, the statement said. Walters made a headline in 1976 as the first female network news anchor with an unprecedented $1 million salary that drew gasps. Her drive was legendary, and she competed not just with rival networks but with colleagues at her own network for each big get in a world jammed with more and more interviewers, including female journalists following in her trail. I never expected this, Walter said in 2004, taking stock of her success. I always thought I'd be a writer for television. Never even thought I'd be in front of the camera. But she was a natural on camera, and especially when playing notables and searing questions. I'm not afraid when I'm interviewing. I have no fear, Walters told the Associated Press in 2008. Is that it?
I mean, before Oprah, Barbara Walters was it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, if there was like a interview to be had with Michael Jackson, oh, it was Barbara. You know.
yeah,
So yeah, she's definitely an icon. You know, I definitely appreciated her work. I think she existed during a time where we still had journalism. So I mean, I don't know of any. I mean, you never know. She could have had some faulty fakeness in her and this, that, and the other. But I think she was one of them that wouldn't let Whoopi nothing happen to Whoopi, especially when she had those different little comments that got her kind of in trouble. So I say she's it stayed true to it as much as possible.
let's read a little more. It says in a voice that never lost its trace of her native Boston accent or its substitution of WS for RS, Walters lobbied blunt and sometimes giddy questions, often sugar-coated with a hushed, reverential delivery. Off screen, do you like you? She once asked actor John Wayne, while Lady Bird Johnson was asked whether she was jealous of her late husband's reputation as a ladies' man. In May 2014, she taped her final episode of The View amid much ceremony to end a 5 decade career in television. Although she continued to make occasional TV appearances, During a commercial break, a throng of TV news women she had paved the way for, including Diane Sawyer, Katie Couric, Robin Roberts, and Connie Chung, posed for a group portrait. I have to remember this on the bad days, Walter said quietly, because this is the best. Oh, so she way back in 2014 she taped her final episode of The View. Wow, I'm
Mm,
way behind. That's a long ass. That's like 10 years.
damn near 8, 9. Yeah, she's been retired for a while.
I didn't know. Let me read some more. It says her career began with no such inklings of majesty. Walters graduated from Sarah Lawrence College in 1943 and eventually landed a temporary behind-the-scenes assignment at Today in 1961. Shortly afterward, what was seen as the token woman slot among the staff's 8 writers opened. Walters got the job and began to make occasional on-air appearances with offbeat stories such as A Day in the Life of a Nun or The Tribulations of a Playboy Bunny. For the latter, she donned bunny ears and high heels to work at the Playboy Club. Yeah. She must have been attractive when she was younger, like I don't know. Let me read some more. It says, as she appeared more frequently, she was spared the title of Today Girl that had been attached to her predecessors. But she had to pay her dues, sometimes sprinting between interviews to do dog food commercials. She had the first interview with Rose Kennedy after the assassination of her son, Robert, as well as with Princess Grace of Monaco and President Richard Nixon. She traveled to India with Jacqueline Kennedy, to China with Nixon, and to Iran to cover the Saz Gala party. But she faced a setback in 1971 with the arrival of a new host, Frankie McGee, who insisted she wait for him to ask 3 questions before she could open her mouth during interviews with powerful persons. Ooh.
We don't even know who that dude is no more.
Yeah, who is that guy? Let me read some more. It says, although she gained a celebrity status of her own right, the celebrity world was familiar to her even as a little girl. Her father was an English born booking agent who turned an old Boston church into a nightclub. Lou Walters opened the clubs in Miami and New York, and young Barbara spent her after hours with regulars such as Joseph Kennedy and Howard Hughes. Oh, that makes sense. It says,
Hmm.
those were the good times, but her father made and lost fortunes in a dizzying cycle that taught her success was always at risk and being snatched away and could neither be trusted nor enjoyed. Sensing greater freedom and opportunities awaiting her outside the NBC studio, she hit the road to produce more exclusive interviews, including the Nixon Chief of Staff H.R. Haldeman. So yeah, so her father being in the club scene and obviously attracting VIPs to his club. That's how
And
she gained.
potentially a mobster.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But that put her in the room with these, certain, elite people or whatever, celebrities. And it's all about having relationships with people, how you can get those interviews. You know what I'm saying? They trust you, they
Mm.
cool with you, they know you already. Then they're more likely to sit down and actually talk to you because it's really hard to get interviews with certain people.
Hey, as long as you don't allow my most sacred secrets to get out, yeah, I give you exclusive. You know, don't break my balls, okay?
Don't bust my balls over here. As long as you don't break my balls, it's okay. Forget about
Forget about
it.
it.
Let me read some more. It says by 1976, she had been granted the title of Today co-host and was earning 700,000 a year. But when ABC
Ooh,
signed her to a 5 million 5-year contract, she was branded the multi-million-dollar baby. That's crazy. So in 1976, she was making 700,000 a year.
1976.
1976, and that was as a co-host.
I was just a year old by then, but yeah, I mean, just think about it. That's shoot, that is
A
big
lot
money.
of money is for then, and
Yes,
then for a woman. So because I wasn't even born yet. So
yeah.
yeah, so $700,000 then is probably damn near 2 million this now.
I mean, Man, more than that. That's probably like 5 million.
That's a lot of money for
Yeah, but
1976.
yeah, like somewhere between 5 and 10 million. 700,000 back then. Yeah, that's close. That's probably closer to 5 million.
All right, let me read some more. It says reports failed to note her job duties would be split between the network's entertainment division and ABC News, then mired in third place. Meanwhile, Harry Reasoner, her seasoned ABC Evening News co-anchor, was said to resent her salary and celebrity orientation. Of course, hater. Harry Reasoner. Like, do we know who this guy is now today?
Who?
Exactly. Let me read some
Yeah.
more. It says it wasn't just the shaky relationship with her co-anchor that brought Walters problems. Comedian Gilda Radner satirized her on Saturday Night Live as a rotacistic commentator named Baba Wawa. I remember that, and that was pretty funny. And after her interview with the newly elected President Jimmy Carter, in which Walters told Carter, "Be wise with us." CBS correspondent Morley Safer publicly derided her as the first female pope blessed the new cardinal. It was a period that seemed to mark the end of everything she'd worked for, she later recalled. I thought it was all over. How stupid of me ever to have left NBC. But salvation arrived in the form of the new boss, ABC News. President Roone Arledge moved her out of the co-anchor slot and into a special projects. Meanwhile, she found success with her quarterly primetime interview specials. She became a frequent contributor to News Magazine 2020 and later co-host. A perennial favorite was her review of the year's 10 most fascinating people. By 2004, when she stepped down from 2020, she had logged more than 700 interviews, ranging from Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, Muammar Gaddafi, to Michael Jackson, Eric and Lyle Mendez, and Elton John. Her 2-hour talk with Monica Lewinsky in 1999, timed to the former White House intern's memoir about her affair with President Bill Clinton, drew more than 70 million views. Of course, everybody want to be messy. She had an interview with Muammar Gaddafi. That's a big deal to me.
What?
And Michael Jackson. That's a
Shit,
big
it's a
deal.
big deal to everybody. What the hell you talking about?
Yeah. So I mean, he was cool to sit down with her, and she was able to sit down with him and talk with him. I mean, I'm sure during those years, because they making Muammar Gaddafi to be out like the freaking devil, like Satan. So I'm sure that people were like, "No, you can't go sit down and talk to that guy. He's Satan. He's gonna rape
No,
and pillage
he
you."
no. They liked him in the early years. It wasn't until later when he was talking about creating his, doing the whole uh changing the monetary system. That's when they had a problem with him.
Mm,
That was, I mean, shit. That was like in the 2000s. So I mean, Muammar Gaddafi was like, as long as he was over there doing his thing, he was a heavy contributor. Like he kind of, may have been a diplomat. Did some this diplomacy moves or whatever for other countries. Because they loved him.
mm.
But like I said, I mean, when it came to that money stuff, that's when they was like, all right, you know what, you done enough.
Yeah, it was probably before my time when I was more like politically aware, especially global politics. That was probably before my time. Let me read some more. It says Lewinsky tweeted that she had lunch with Walters a few years ago, where, of course, she was charming, witty, and some of her questions were still her signature interview style. A special favorite for Walters was Katharine Hepburn, although in 1981 exchange led to one of her most ridiculed questions: "What kind of tree are you?" Walters would later object that the question was perfectly reasonable within the context of their conversation. Walters did pronounce herself guilty of being dreadfully sentimental at times and was famous for making her subjects cry, with Oprah Winfrey and Ringo Starr among the more famous shedders. Oh, she made Oprah cry. Let me read some more. But her works also received high praise. She won a Peabody Award for her interview with Christopher Reeve shortly after the 1995 horseback riding accident that left him paralyzed.
Hmm.
Walter's first marriage to businessman Bob Katz was annulled after a year. Her 1963 marriage to theater owner Lee Goober, with whom she adopted a daughter, ended in divorce after 13 years. Her 5-year marriage to producer Merv Alderson ended in divorce in 1990. Walters wrote a best-selling 2008 memoir, Audition, which caught readers by surprise with her disclosure of a long and rocky affair in the 1970s with married U.S. Senator Edward Brooke. No, she was the side piece. Let me read more. It says Walter's self-disclosure reached another benchmark in May 2010 when she made an announcement on The View that days later she would undergo heart surgery. She would feature her successful surgery, and those other notables included Clinton and David Letterman in a primetime special. Walters is survived by her daughter Jacqueline Danforth. I hope that I will be remembered as a good and courageous journalist. I hope that some of my interviews not created history but were witness to history. Although I know that title has been used, Walters told the AP upon her retirement from The View, I think that when I look at what I've done, I have a great sense of accomplishment. I don't want to sound proud and haughty, but I think I've just a wonderful career, and I'm so thrilled that I have. Moore, a longtime Associated Press television writer who retired in 2017, was the principal writer of this obituary. Associated Press. To think about what's her name from the Fugees? The singer Lauren Hill.